right? So people view NFTs as this sort of lifelong commitment between the customer or the community member and the product. That's a false expectation to have, and it's a wrong expectation because these people aren't your slaves. These project owners, they're not your slaves. They're not your bitches for you to tell them, oh, what's the floor price? And if you're not doing anything, right? The beauty about Web3 that Web2 doesn't offer is that you can actually get involved with these projects. You can actually build the future of these companies. You can actually get involved. You have a stake in the game. With Web2, you don't have access to that. But if you had an NFT that gave you the ability to dictate whether Twitter's going to roll out a Spaces feature or whether they're not going to, that's where the value comes. Now, I see a lot of people like this. Oh, why is my NFT not going up? You don't even have the courage to promote it. You ain't even talking about your investments. No wonder, bro. You're shitting on your own investments. Like, dude, who does that? Losers, morons. So you have to recalibrate, first of all, how you perceive NFTs. People perceive NFTs the wrong way. They see it as a money-making vehicle instead of seeing it as our way out of the system. It truly is our way out of the system where we can democratize our experiences. And people throw these terms out and they're full of bullshit. They're full of shit. They don't truly understand that this is a life-changing technology if it's implemented in a way where you can eliminate greed out of the equation. Now, it's very difficult to eliminate greed out of the equation when it's all transactional, right? When the transaction is monetary. So I think the person that can figure out how to get rid of the transactional factor of NFTs where you owe nobody anything. A good example is Neo Tokyo, right? The Alex Becker's initial collection, he just made people do a ton of shit and then he got really rich on the process and then he did a second mint and stuff like that. And people still gave him shit. But the guy made it for free. So he pushed his own stuff. He promoted it. Everybody was talking about it and he did well, but he owes nobody anything, right? At any moment, it could be like, see ya, deuces, I'm out. Or you could keep it running. But that's the beauty of it, right? So having a fine balance between, minting a $20 million project, okay, bro, like you gotta do something. Whereas somebody does a $500,000 project, dude, you understand how quick 500K goes in an NFT project? That shit is gone tomorrow like that. With these gas fees and having to pay these overpriced VAs and these Discord mods, your company's gone instantly. You're liquid, you're out the door. And I think we need to recalibrate because a lot of creators aren't coming in because of the fear of backlash that they're receiving from the community, which is absolutely disgusting, that you wouldn't receive anywhere else. You wouldn't receive that in Web2 because the relationship with the customer is very different. So if you want to be an owner of a product and an owner of a brand, you can't shit on it the same way because you wouldn't do it with a Web2 product. You would just ask for what? A refund. But in this case, the commerce relationship is different because it's based on trust, it's based on equanimity, and it's based on a mutual relationship. Now, of course, you have a lot of players that come in, they scam and do other things. But guys, it's the Wild West. What do you think was happening in California 100 years ago? You want freedom? You don't want the government to be involved? You don't want the SEC to get involved? But at the same time, guess what? It comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of being more careful. It comes at a cost of being a more educated consumer. And at the end of the day, the reason most of you guys are getting screwed is because you're gambling. You're gambling, bro. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. You just want to make money. And if the only intention to be here is to make money, then you don't have much to offer, much to receive in return. Now, there's a really cool car company, and I don't want to say what it is because it's private, but they are implementing NFT technology into their vehicles, which is really, really interesting. And the tech that they're implementing is basically an immutable Carfax, right? Where how many times you've opened the car door, how many times the car's been filled up with gas, how many miles does it truly have, how many times have you sat in the car? All these things form an immutable, unchangeable NFT of the vehicle that can't be changed. That to me is revolutionary, right? Because, here in America, you have Carfax. Yeah, but what about Pakistan? What about these places where like you can finesse certain things and you can change the odometer and swap all that stuff? Or you go to the third world country, they do that in Argentina all the time and you get screwed, right? So the NFT technology is a track record that is immutable, that has its pros, right? Like a Carfax, but then it also has its cons if you have big institution or government agencies get involved with it, because if they implement that as a status quo, then you're in a situation where you can absolutely get screwed, right? And the reason you can get screwed is because like everything's online, everything's like there and you can be monitored, right? So China would definitely take this into a dystopian ecosystem. So we also have to be careful what powers we give access to in that regard. So that's kind of how I see it with regards to your correlation between Web 2, not just e-commerce, but Web 3 is, you know, you have your pros, you have your cons, and those are a couple of them that I've personally witnessed myself, both in the space as a consumer, both in the space as a creator, on both sides, right? On both sides.